Hey guys, in this month's Historical Fiction 101, we're going to be talking about Queen Victoria and Albert. So I wanted to do a special Historical Fiction 101 video just simply talking about my love of Victoria and Albert. The most adorable, wonderful, real-life historical couple ever. And I'm not alone in feeling that way. There's a lot of people like me whenever people are in conversation like, oh, who's your favorite real life historical couple, and Victoria and Albert are usually at the top of everybody's list. Yeah, there's other ones, but it's kind of a small selection. And yeah, I have always just been fascinated with the relationship between Queen Victoria and Albert, like how genuine it was, the fact that they actually really loved each other, especially in a time period where couples didn't marry for love. They married for convenience and position and wealth and whatnot. But yeah, Victoria and Albert, it seemed like they genuinely loved each other and got along with each other, and they genuinely married for love. It wasn't a marriage of convenience, to the best of my knowledge, especially just how people write about them and discuss them, especially through nonfiction works, and then, yeah, through various different media like movies and historical fiction and television. Their relationship is always presented as being one that's honest and real and genuine, and like one of history's real love stories that you can root for. So, if you're a fan of Victoria and Albert like I am, what I'm essentially doing with this video, I'm just kind of giving you some really quick recommendations that you can explore on your own time to continue your love and fascination of Victoria and Albert. And the thing is, if you are a diehard fan of the two of them like me, you've probably already read and consumed all this stuff to begin with, so this video may be nothing new. But yeah, this is kind of for beginners, I'll say. This video is going to primarily be for people who maybe are kind of just now getting into the story of Queen Victoria and Albert. So, just some quick historical information here. If there are any mistakes in my knowledge here, you guys, just politely correct me down below. All mistakes are mine. Yeah, just some quick historical backdrop for these two. Victoria and Albert were both born in 1819. You guys, is that correct? When I was doing my research, I was like, wait, is that right? Because I thought he was a few years older than her. But yeah, everything I was looking at said they were both born in 1819, which kind of blew my mind there for a minute. Yeah, Victoria became queen by 1837. She was like the youngest queen of England at the time. And yeah, she reigned all the way to her death until 1901, which is insane, only to be usurped in that position by Queen Elizabeth II for one of the longest reigning monarchs. And yeah, Albert, like I said, born 1819. He died in 1861, and he was very young when he died. He was only 42 years old, and I guess his doctor said that he died by typhoid fever. But yeah, kind of, I guess in recent years it's been kind of suggested it might have been more than typhoid fever. We'll never know for sure what exactly he died from, but that was kind of the assumption back in the day, that it was typhoid fever that killed him. But it could have possibly been something else that was related to like intestinal and stomach issues that he might have been having, maybe. So yeah, he died very, very young at 42. And Victoria is very notoriously known for the fact that after his death, she went into deep grief and deep mourning for his loss, because their relationship was that powerful back in the day. That's how much she loved this man, that she went into such deep grief and mourning for him, that he was ripped so cruelly away from her when they were both so young. Yeah, she notoriously started just wearing all black, and she wore all black for the remainder of her life. And yes, she made very rare appearances for the most part. It's like she kind of became a recluse, and no one really ever saw her that much. And Victoria and Albert, in total, they had 9 children, you guys. That's a lot of children. I love the thing that, because there's a lot of like nonfiction that I've read about Queen Victoria, and a lot of people make the commentary that her and Albert had all these children, so they obviously loved the marriage bed, obviously, but she didn't enjoy having the children. She didn't enjoy the act of pregnancy and whatnot and having the children. She hated that notoriously. So yeah, they had 9 children, and Victoria is often cited as being essentially like the grandmother of Europe, because all of her children and grandchildren and whatnot, they're all involved very heavily in what goes down and plays out in World War One. It's like all these people are related, but they're all bickering and fighting against each other during World War One. And yeah, that's thanks to Queen Victoria being the grandmother of Europe. So yeah, getting now into the list of recommendations that you may enjoy if you want to read more with Victoria and Albert. And yeah, this is all like historical fiction based. None of this is nonfiction. First up, one of the obvious recommendations here is The Young Victoria, and this was a 2009 movie starring Emily Blunt and Robert Friend as Victoria and Albert. This is one of my first movie experiences with Victoria and Albert and learning their story. I loved this movie. I remember just being so pleasantly surprised with it and how much I loved it, how much I love these two together. And yeah, there are other movie versions of Victoria and Albert, but this is like one of the most, newer movies and whatnot that's probably easier to access and watch. And then, yeah, we have the Victoria TV series, which I think was put out by the BBC, and that ran from 2016 to 2019 and starred Jenna Coleman and Tom Hughes. Boy, oh boy, I love this show. And is it officially canceled? I have no idea. I don't know if this show ever officially got canceled or if it's eventually going to come back at some point. It's like it kind of just quietly died away and no one even really knows what's happening, because even like Jenna Coleman, like whenever I see Jenna Coleman being interviewed about stuff and the interviewer will be like, oh, are you ever going to go back to playing Queen Victoria? And she's like, oh, I don't know. So yeah, even the cast doesn't seem to know if this show has been officially canceled, it seems. But boy, oh boy, I freaking loved this show, you guys. Oh my god, I love the just overall production design, the costuming, the hair, the locations, just everything about this show was gorgeous and perfect. Maybe a little melodramatic and soap opera on occasion, but that's okay. I freaking loved it. And I know this is about Victoria and Albert, but you know what? Another reason that you need to watch this show is also for Rufus Sewell, who plays Lord Melbourne. You guys, you gotta watch it for him alone. And then some quick books here, some historical fiction books. There is the Victoria book by Daisy Goodwin, and this is kind of a companion piece to the Victoria TV show with Jenna Coleman. It's basically like word for word, dialogue for dialogue, an adaptation of what you see in like the first season of the TV show. So yeah, if you kind of just want a little quick companion piece to go with the show, this might be your thing. And then there's also a book called Victoria and Albert by Evelyn Anthony, and this book was actually released back in 1958, so it's a pretty old book. But yeah, obviously focusing on Victoria and Albert, as the title suggests. And then kind of running in a similar vein, we also have a series by Jean Plady, who is a really popular historical fiction writer, back from the 70s and 80s, I think. Jean Plady wrote a series that was the Queen Victoria series, and this series was kind of developed and published throughout the 1970s. And yeah, you have the first book, which is Captive of Kensington Palace, and the Queen and Lord M, the Queen's husband, and the Widow of Windsor. So yeah, as I was kind of looking through these books, I was thinking, oh, this almost looks like, if you love, the Victoria TV series as well, this is like play by play of like everything that was going down in that show, So yeah, weirdly enough, the Evelyn Anthony book and the Jean Plady books, those are all fairly old books, like I said, from like the 50s and 70s. And what I don't understand, maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, where are like modern books, published here in like the 2000s? I just can't for the life of me find anything with Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, that's more modern, written in the 2000s and whatnot. Especially how they've kind of had this resurgence of popularity, thanks to like the Young Victoria movie and the Victoria TV series and whatnot. I'm just kind of surprised there's not been a lot more historical fiction books out there, It's like there's a lot of books that take place during just the overall general Victorian era. But yeah, if it's like if you're looking for something focused on Victoria and Albert, it's like it doesn't really exist in book form, you know? But yeah, once again, maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places. I'm not doing maybe a deeper, thorough research that I need to be doing. So yeah, if you know of some really good books that are more up to date and modern, you know, especially if you don't want to read something that was written back in the 50s or 70s or whatever. But yeah, let me know if you have any further recommendations. So you guys, that is it for my video where I just simply gush about my love of all things Victoria and Albert. Seriously, they're just one of the best real life historical couples. I don't think there's really anything to dislike about them. If there is, let me know. So yeah, you guys in the comments below, do you guys appreciate the love story that is Victoria and Albert? And yeah, is there anything that I left off this list that I should go check out? You know, whether it is a movie or a show or a book or whatever, let me know so I can go check it out because I love these two. So that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.